Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Vox. Tracy here, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a triangular shawl, or you can just make a small triangle. It's a granny triangle, or you can turn it into a nice big shawl. It's great for beginners, this one. So I'm using the James C. Brett Swirly Whirly cakes that I've just done a swatch video for on my channel, and I've got these in my shop, hobbyvox.co.uk, and I'm going to be using this colour, which is called Wild Berries, and it's one of my favourite ones. It's just that these dreamy colours, and so when they work up they look really lovely together. So I'm using 2 cakes to make a nice big shawl. I've done one so far and it's quite large. You could put this over your shoulders and it would be kind of like a shoulder warmer. It's quite big already, but the cake I used only has this little tiny bit left over. So I'm just going to move this out the way for a second, and I'm going to show you how to do it with another cake exactly the same, because I'm going to undo this obviously and continue with my shawl with it. But you can use this just as a granny triangle. Okay, yarn band on the floor. Okay, so I've got my end, and for this one I used the center pull, but the last part where it was getting quite what can I say, loose, it got a bit knotted. So I'm going to go from the outside and see if that works better for me. So let me just move this down a little bit then and get started. So I'm using a 5mm crochet hook, and that's what I used for this. You can use a 4.5. It's not the thinnest DK weight yarn that I've ever used, and 5 works up really well. So what you need to do is make a slip knot, and you can do that however you want to. Don't need to do my method. And I'm going to chain 4. That is then going to be made into a little ring by slip stitching into the very first chain, and it is a very small ring at first. It does seem too small to work into, but once we start then it will expand a little bit. So I'm going to chain 3. Chain 3 is, I do 2 for a treble crochet, and a treble crochet is a UK term. It's a double crochet in the US. Now that is the only stitch apart from chains and slip stitch that we're going to use. So when I say treble crochet, it's a double crochet for you guys across the pond. So we're going to do, so the 2 chains represent my UK treble or US double crochet, and 1 extra for a space. So I only ever do 2 for a UK treble or a US double crochet. So then inside that circle we're going to do 3 UK treble crochets. If you're not familiar with these stitches, I do have a complete beginner's course that you can, I'll put a link just above here, and you can go to that if you need the tuition to do that. So now we've done our 3, and I'm going to chain 1, just chain 1 as if we're making a granny square corner, and I'm going to do another 3 UK trebles, US double crochets in that same ring, and as you can see it is starting to expand a little bit. Okay, so now I've done, hang on, just my tail getting in the way, I've done my 3. Now we need to get this side identical to that side. So we're going to chain 1 because we did 2 chain and a chain 1 for that space. And then we're going to do 1 more all on its own in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to see this pull more and more flat as we go round. So that's our first round. And we're going to turn our work and we're going to chain 3 again. So 2 for the treble, 1 for the space, and then in that space that we had before, you can just see it there, we just created a space. We're going to do 3. Remember, it's the only stitch that we're going to be doing, throughout. So when I say treble, if I don't say US, you will know it's also a double crochet. So in our space of our corner, which would be our corner, we're going to do a new corner. So we're going to do 3 stitches, chain 1, and I need to pull out some more yarn. That's the only problem not doing the centre pull, is that I will need to pull it out. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do 3 back in that same space again. Making our peak and corner. I'm not chaining in between them, but I'm going to go over here to my first off chains, and there was 3, remember, so we've got that space. We're going to do 3 in there. Now we want our chain 1 at the end. Now I'm going to pull that over slightly because I want to go into my second chain and do another. So I want to get straight into, I don't know if I can get in actually with this hook. I was using my tulip, which has a much pointier top. There we are. So we want to go into that second chain, and as you can see, it's now taking on this lovely, I didn't pull that then, just move that out of the way, this lovely triangle shape. So now we turn our work again and we do our 3 chain, and we find that space again and we'll do our 3, and now it will just grow, doing the same repeat all the time. But this time we have another one to go into before we get to our peak. So we're going to do 3 in there. And it's just basically half of the granny square. And now we're at the corner, or the peak, whichever you want to call it. We are now going to do our 3 1 chain and 3 to turn that corner. It's a beautiful yarn, I have to say. I really love it. So again, we've got 1 more along the side to go into. If I go too fast for you, if you're an absolute beginner, but you've mastered the stitches, and just pause the video and catch up with me. Okay, so now we're back at the end. We need to find that space and do our 3 in that space. Now, sometimes when you make a shawl, they can go horseshoe shape at the end. And I found that by pulling this over and going in that top and doing our last one in there, and every now and then just giving it that little kind of shape, has stopped that. And on my larger one that I showed you earlier, there is no cupping, there's no horseshoe. Hang on, I don't want to start pulling my stitches out, it might be a bit too late for that. Can't get it through. There we are. There we are. I'll show you. It's still a lovely flat triangle, and I don't know how many rounds I've done, rather a lot I should say. So now we're just going to do what we did before and do our 3 chain. We always start with the 3 chain. Now if you're a very loose crocheter and your stitches are tall, you may need to do 3 chain for your UK treble or US double, and then the extra 1. But mine, I don't do really tall long stitches. My mother, when she crocheted, she made very, very tall stitches, so she would have needed 3. But for me, mine are kind of normal size, I think. So I just do the 2 and then the extra 1 for the space. But if you're a very loose, long crocheter, you might need 3. But you'll probably know that if it starts to look like it's dipping a little bit. But my tension is not stiff tension, not tight, but you know, it's not very loose either. It's about medium. So now we've got 2 along our sides, just as if we were making a granny. It grows by 1 each side every time. So now we're at the corner or the peak. We're going to do the same. I only ever do 1 chain as well between. If I was making a granny square and I was doing a corner, I would only do 1 chain. I know some people do more and some people chain between, but I find that it's totally unnecessary, because when you're making your stitches, I need to pull out some more yarn, it makes that space for you. And I find it's too loose and leggy for me. When I've done that in the past, I don't like it so much. I prefer seeing it and the feel of it and the drape of it if I don't chain between. So now I'm in that end one. Again, just do my 3. Incidentally, if you forgot to do your chain 1, you could just put it between those stitches and it would be fine. There's no need to frog it, because as I say, it will make a space for you. I really need to find my other hook. And it is important really that you pull that so that you get a nice even kind of collection of holes, if you like, up that edge, and you get it in the right place. It will stop that horseshoeing that I mentioned. So that is how I've done my triangle. And if you want to make a shawl, you can just carry on going round and round and round. When I've finished mine, I may do a little border, and if I do a fancy or a fancy-ish border, then I will come back and do another video on the border. But for now, I'm just going to carry on making my triangle bigger and bigger, and see where I want to end. But that is completely your preference. I feel like I don't need to tell you how many rows to do. We're all a different shape and size. Some of us are shorter, don't need it quite as long. So really, you just offer it up, put it on your shoulders, and you will see if you feel like yours is finished. That I feel like the choice of that is down to you. But it also, if you wanted to make just triangle granny squares, put them together, that's how you do it. So thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.